Order of the Maplewood Economic Development Authority special meeting, August 24th, 2020. The roll call, Ms. Send.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Abrams.
Here.
Commissioner Juniman.
Here.
President Knudsen.
Here.
And Commissioner Neblett will not be joining us tonight.
Thank you. I think tonight for our limited discussion, we'll just go down that same order. Councilmember Smith, or Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Abrams, Commissioner Juniman, and then President Knudsen. So do we have an approval of the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Abrams, second by Commissioner Smith. Is there any discussion? Anyone? I don't think we need to go through the list. All those in favor? Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Abrams?
Aye.
Commissioner Juniman?
Aye.
And I would vote aye. Do we have an approval of the minutes?
I'll move to approve the minutes of the August 10th, 2020 Economic Development Authority meeting minutes.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Abrams, seconded by Commissioner Juniman. So
I have a correction.
go ahead, Commissioner Juniman.
On page 3 of 11, near the bottom, President Knudsen should say reopened, and it should be ED, not open. Reopened. The ED regular.
Okay, with that amendment to the minutes or adjustment to the minutes, do we have a second? Or wait a minute.
We already had a second.
Oh, any discussion? Commissioner Smith,
No, thanks.
No thanks.
Commissioner Abrams,
Nope.
Commissioner Juniman,
No, thanks.
and I have none. Now I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Abrams,
Aye.
Commissioner Juniman,
Aye.
and the President votes aye. We have no public hearing tonight, no unfinished business. But our new business, we have a term sheet in the Roars Investment LLC for the sale of property at 1946 English Street. Miss, who's going to present tonight? Mr. Thompson?
That's correct, Mr. President.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay? You can hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. Thank you, President and Commissioners. So we have received an offer from Roars Investments to purchase city-owned property, city-owned property where the former Moose Lodge was located at 1946 English Street North. It's a property that the city acquired and closed on that sale back in 2019, so just over a year ago. Roars has requested that we enter into a term sheet with them which establishes some of the preliminary terms for the sale and for the development project. And this term sheet precedes the development application that will be submitted, the TIF application that will be submitted, as well as the final purchase agreement, which would codify all the terms of the land purchase. Just to generally outline the project, they are looking to construct 161 units of market rate apartments on that site. It would be a high density residential project. It would be market rate apartments, which means that there would be no formal rent restrictions associated with affordable housing units, which would have restrictions on the amount of rent that can be charged. That being said, the target market and target type of unit for this project would be workforce housing, which means a couple things, but mainly there would be a significant number of 2 and actually 3 bedroom units in the building to provide some of the larger family units that we've identified in our comp plan as a need for this neighborhood. Under the terms in the term sheet, they would purchase the property for a price of $900,000. That is the same price that the city acquired the property for from the Moose Lodge last year. And also, in terms of the term sheet, Roars would then be responsible for acquiring the adjacent property, the stucco business, which would be combined with the former Moose Lodge site, which to comprise the overall development site. And then they would seek tax increment financing assistance. And so they're looking for the city to establish a redevelopment TIF district for the development site to offset some of the extraordinary costs associated with the development, mainly that are associated with demolishing and removal of the blighting conditions that are on that property today. I mentioned this is kind of the first step in a multi-step process that the development will need to go through. It's a non-binding agreement in the end. It just allows us and the developer to understand that the EDA is generally comfortable with the terms that are before them, but the final details will be codified, as I mentioned, in the purchase agreement. And ultimately also as well in the tax increment financing application, where the developer will be required to submit their financial information to support the public need for city assistance. And then lastly, as with all development projects, they would still be required to go through the development application process, the public hearing before the Planning Commission, and review of the actual development plans for consistency with our comp plan as well as our zoning ordinances. So those steps would all be forthcoming. Again, this is just to outline those preliminary terms. So with that, President and Commissioners, we are recommending approval of the term sheet, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Commissioner Smith, questions?
Yeah. So, Mr. Thompson, the stucco business, is that the sort of like industrial business that's sort of behind the Moose Lodge there and behind that other building?
Commissioner Smith, that's correct.
Okay. That'll be nice to move along as well. So, thank you.
Commissioner Adams. Commissioner Adams, any questions?
Thank you, President Knudsen. Have we done any business with Roars Investments before this particular project that's being proposed?
President and Commissioner, I'm not aware that Roars has done a project in the city of Maplewood. The representative from Roars is actually Shane Lefebvre, who was previously at Sherman Associates, but did the project on the northwest corner of Frost and English, the two phases on that Frost English Silver, and then the other residential building. And then Roars has done a number of it looks like they exclusively do or primarily focus on multifamily residential, and they've done a number of projects throughout the Twin Cities Metro. I believe Burnsville, Chanhassen. I know there were like 5 or 6 other suburban communities in the Twin Cities area that they have done multifamily residential projects on, but none that currently are in the city of Maplewood.
Okay, thank you very much.
Commissioner Juniman.
Thank you. On our report, the points that are under the tax increment note and the public improvements, that's just sort of a sketch of what their intentions are. Is that correct?
President and Commissioners, that's correct. That's just a kind of an identification of what the public improvements may be. Ultimately, because the city has already done a lot of the public infrastructure investments already, we do expect that the public infrastructure will not be significant as part of the project.
Thank you. I just have one question, Mr. Thompson. Is this conditioned on acquiring the stucco business?
Mr. President, it is, or it is an obligation of Roars in the term sheet. Let me just find the section.
Yeah, I'm looking hard here.
It is page 7 of 11 in your packet, under the section entitled Purchase. The final sentence of that paragraph says, redeveloper shall purchase the property located at 1315 Frost Avenue.
Thank you for pointing that out. I have no further questions. So with that, I need a motion to approve the term sheet.
I move to approve the term sheet with Roars Investments LLC for the sale of the property at 1940
Is there a
Second.
second?
Second?
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Juniman, seconded by Commissioner Adams to approve the term sheet. Any further discussion? Commissioner Smith?
So one more question on the stucco business. So do they have a purchase agreement signed with the stucco business, or is that still underway?
Mr. Thompson?
Chair and Commissioners, I do not believe they have a signed purchase agreement, but they have the preliminary terms of an agreement for the sale in terms of price.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Adams?
Try Abrams?
Commissioner Abrams?
Thank you. We're at the discussion point? I have no other discussion.
Yes. Commissioner Juniman?
I have no questions either, but just to point out to the public that this is in no way obligating us to anything. It's just talking about their intentions. It's
Right. Thank you. And I have no further questions. For the vote, Mr. Smith, or
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Abrams,
Aye.
Commissioner Juniman,
aye.
President Knudsen votes yes, or aye. The term sheet is approved. I see no other further business coming before the Maplewood Economic Development Authority. And I think it's time to adjourn. Thank you very much.